So it's January 27th. I don't know about you, but I'm looking in the mailbox every day. I'm looking for my financial documents to come in because I think they technically need to be in by the 30th or 31st. With that being said, we don't, wing everything all the time. One of the great people I thought about getting in contact with was none other than Mr. Christopher Whalen. Chris has been on the show on multiple occasions. I think 2 or 3 times last season, and we talked taxes. We talked cybersecurity. We talked about the Foxhole Father. Want to bring Mr. Christopher Whalen on. Chris, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing fantastic, Ted. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, it's a pleasure that you can be on. You can be on with us live. I want to say thank you for taking the time out to join us. Chris, you're like family here, so enough with the pleasantries. Happy to have you, as always. Let's get down to business, Chris. And is it officially tax season? Or
yes, as of 12/01, January 1st, I've been in tax season. So yes, it's definitely tax season, and everyone should be very urgent about it. As I've been saying, it's January 27th. Do you know where your taxes are?
I tell you one thing. I don't know about everyone else, but I know I receive, I would say, at least a weekly newsletter from you. And it seems like a heartfelt note from you about taxes and things that you should be looking at, your financial investments. I know you're a CPA, you have your own business, and it might sound like I'm plugging your business, but yes, I'm plugging your business. Chris, you do a fantastic job, and I'm going to start off this way. It's tax season. Let's just say I did not file my taxes, and I've been receiving multiple phone calls from the IRS. Should my antennas go up, Chris?
Well, of course, the IRS will rarely, if ever, call you. That is never the first type of communication that they'll use. So that your antenna should go up, and you should immediately hang up on anyone that calls and says they're from the IRS. It's probably a scam call looking to get you to wire some money somewhere, as if to keep you out of jail. But the first thing you should do when you get a call like that is to call me directly, which you can go to my website, chriswhalencpa.com. But that's one of many scams out there. Don't be afraid if someone calls and says they're from the IRS, because it's probably a scam artist looking to take your money.
I know last year there were issues with TurboTax. I mean, because it's like people nowadays, I understand that everyone wants to have their hands on in everything that they do, but I remember you and I were talking last year, there was an issue with TurboTax. So just tell me, I'm going to stop asking questions, tell me why we should use not only your firm, but why should we use a CPA?
Well, first of all, a CPA is someone who's doing this all year. You have some of the H&RBlock kind of people. Many of them do not do taxes all year. They're doing something else. They're partially trained. So you really want to go with, as I said, you really want to go to get a root canal from someone that's doing it all year and isn't painting houses in the summer. So the urgency should be the same, and looking for someone who's professionally doing this every day. Also, we're dealing with your data online, which last year H&RBlock had the problem, and there's a software called Tax Act that had a data breach recently. Several thousand people had their information stolen. So I urge everyone, if you do have your data stored with an online tax package, either your own or your accountant currently, I want everyone to call their accountant and ask, is their information stored in the cloud with their tax software? If so, you really should fire that accountant. There is no safe place. At my firm, at Chris Whalen CPA, your data is never kept in the cloud, ever. It's kept locally on secure servers in my office. And that's something that people don't realize. People are being hacked every day. and it's very important. And people can call me, reach out to me. My phone number is on my website. Again, ChrisWhalenCPA.com. I'm here for the late night parents community to answer any all questions, as I've been doing since you had me on the show.
Exactly, Chris. Exactly. So tell us about some of the tax changes for the filing year of 2015. What really stands out?
Well, they extended something called Section 179 depreciation. So for business owners especially, they were able to buy equipment, which usually is depreciated over time, but there's something in the tax code that allows you to really expense that immediately as opposed to taking it year after year partially. So they extended that back up to $500,000. So that many CPAs and accountants don't realize that happened. So that's something significant. There's very significant changes that have gone on with Obamacare and the marketplace. There's a form called a 1095. There's different types of them. And I urge everyone to, if you have Obamacare, if you're in the marketplace, you should be getting one of these forms, either from the marketplace, from an insurance carrier, or from your employer. And this leads to putting that information, especially if you've gotten a subsidy, on your tax return. So this is something that's very confusing. It's not that simple. So it's a brand new form. I urge everyone, please, to reach out to me via email, call me to ask me questions about this. So a lot of tax returns were rejected last year because the information was not put appropriately on your 1040. A lot of notices were created. So let's avoid that this year. A lot of preparers do not know how to handle these 1095 forms. Also, I want to interject. I just did an article for a local magazine here in New Jersey, and the title is, Are You Afraid to File Your Taxes? Don't Be. And this is going out to the procrastinators out there who get to April 14th and say, oh, no, I've done nothing. And if I could just take a minute and talk about a few things that are really important that happen. For example, if the IRS, people think of the IRS as a money collector. And that is not really their main job. The money collection is separate. Their main job is compliance to get paper returns or electronically filed returns with signatures. That's their main job. Yes, if you owe money, they'll send you to collection. So number one, even if you believe you will owe money, always file a tax return on time. Don't connect paying the money with filing the return, because late filing penalties are extremely high, if not higher than late payment. So that's a very big that's good advice for people to make sure they file the paper. We can always get you on a payment plan at some time. So you don't want the IRS having you flagged as a non-filer. That's almost as bad as owing money. You want to if you do owe a lot of money right now, it's possible we can do an offer on compromise for you. We might be able to get your taxes reduced. Everyone hears these advertisements on the radio about people getting thousands of dollars reduced to nothing, and that's really a bait and switch scheme. It is possible, but you have to go through the proper channels, give the proper financial information, and really qualify. And I can show you quickly, all of your listeners, if you would qualify for something like that without having to give me a $6,000 retainer, as these people want online, on the radio. You also, if you can't file your return on time, let's say you can't, April 15th comes, you want to file an extension. You want to get an official extension into the IRS. It gives you 6 more months to file. That can avoid late filing. So even if you're late, you're procrastinating, believe me, I get 40 phone calls and emails on April 15th at 9 in the morning saying, please get me an extension. So these are just a couple of things that are very, very important to realize, especially for those who procrastinate. And you know who you are, late night parents, because I've been dealing with your listenership for your community. I know a lot of you. So we dealt with this last year. So that's some of the important advice I can give right now for those kind of filers.
Hey, so here's 2 questions that I'm usually peppered with when I mention taxes or I mention that you're coming on. The 2 questions are, how quickly will I get my refund? And what's the best and fastest way to get information about my refund, Chris?
Okay. Number one, if you electronically file your return, and depending when in the season you do it, you can have your money within 2 weeks or less. It's possible. If you paper file your return, it could be 10 or 12 weeks. So I urge everyone to electronically file. It is the law. You really have to have an excuse to not electronically file. But if you electronically file and you give your banking information, it could be as soon as 2 weeks that you'll get your money direct deposit in the bank. There's online, there's Where's My Refund, which is an IRS.gov website, which will allow you to track where your refund is, what's the status of the processing of your return, when was it approved, and they update that every 24 hours. So that's right on IRS.gov. Of course, you can write to me at my website, chriswhalencpa.com, and I can send you the links for that. So you really don't want to try to call the IRS. They've really reduced their telephone operations, which is very sad. It's very hard to get basic customer service right now. So going to Where's My Refund is going to be the best place for you to go as opposed to calling right now.
So here's something that I'll speak for myself on this one. So I make contributions to my church. I make contributions to, let's say, the Police Benevolent Association. I make contributions to Lupus Foundation. Do charitable contributions, do they trigger an IRS audit? Like, what should I be looking at?
Absolutely not. That there's no such thing as a charitable contribution. If I just did a great memo on that, a very informative memo on that. There's certain averages that people are giving. The United States citizens are very giving, and there's some reasonable amounts that you can take without. I want people to know if you donate cash or property, I want you to take that regardless of the amount. If you have a valid deduction for giving and gifting and tithing, please, you need to put it down. If it's a non-cash contribution, there's certain paperwork, certain forms you need to file within your return to give a description. If you donate a car, if you donate clothing, if you donate books, if you donate furniture. But if you go to my website, you'll see in my memos, right in my memos tab, there is a great memo on this question, and it gives you some averages that the IRS has provided. I did some research that shows you, based on income, what are the average amounts of charitable contributions people are taking. So it really can give you a good guide for your income level as to what other people are doing and what seems reasonable, so you could be made to feel a little more comfortable and not as anxious about that question.
Hey, Chris, this is a question that's a little bit offline, but 2 or 3 weeks ago, it was crazy all over America because it was Powerball time. And it went up to about $1.5 billion from a financial planner, because I know you do taxes. I know you do the full gamut. Let's just say Ted Hicks from Late Night Parents was the sole winner of that $1.5 billion. What in the world should I do?
Well, the first thing you have to do is contact me for your free first consultation. That's the number one thing you do. And that's the first thing. But you definitely want to, of course, get the right tax advice and make sure that we have the money before you get your net check from whoever, the Jersey, New York lottery, Powerball lottery. We have the taxes withheld at that point. And you just want to be very careful that, of course, people are going to want to invest your money, and they're going to want to make a certain amount on that. So you want to go to a financial advisor such as myself who charges by the hour, whether you have $1,000 to invest or $1 billion to invest. You just want to get some good prudent advice from someone who is not making money on your money. That goes for all your investments, even your 401k. Your investment advisors, although they're very good people, they are making money off your money, and behind the scenes they could be making certain points on certain investment strategies and commissions that you don't really know about. So you should be wary as to, is someone really doing right by you? So it's good to have someone like me. My firm is hired to actually review plans that advisors are giving my clients. And my clients tell the advisors, if Chris Whalen approves this, I'll sign it. So you always want an independent person to review your financial plan who is not making any money off your money. because that is a true objective person giving advice. I make the same amount per hour regardless of the amount you're investing. So I don't give investment advice. I just review investment plans to see if they meet your goals and your strategies for your family's future.
I think there's not a single day that we're not hearing about a breach. You talked about Tax Act. We've talked about, over the past, I would say 12 to 18 months with Home Depot and this store and that one and this third party. This stuff is really, really, really out of control. And so, just tell me this much. With knowing all of this, and with, let's just say I'm a listener of Late Night Parents, and I'm listening to Chris Whalen right now, and I call my, H&RBlock or whatever company that's representing me, and I ask about the cloud. How easy is it for me to get my personally identifiable information from my financial advisor and to come to you?
Well, that's very, very simple. Of course, when you have your supporting documents, first of all, you should always get those back with your tax return. So you hopefully you have that plus a copy of your return. If you don't have a copy of your return, by law, a prior tax preparer has to provide that to you and to me. So it's very, very easy to transition to my firm. We do it every day. I did 25 today. I had intake of 25 brand new clients with supporting data dropped off at my office today alone. So people should not be worried about that. It's very easy for me to review your prior history, to get acclimated to you, and to go forward as if I've been doing your work. So I want people to not feel pressured. A lot of accountants and preparers almost have this kind of pressure that they put on someone as if they know secrets or as if they could only do the work now. That's completely untrue. And they just have to give me a call and have a free consultation over the phone or in person. And I usually get people very comfortable to know that we can handle it better, and they should be dealing with us. But to getting back to the data, make sure that any preparer you have, if it's not me, guarantees you that your data and personal information is not stored in the cloud, kept in the cloud, or processed in the cloud. If so, it is not safe, it is not secure. There are breaches going on that we aren't even told about. I hear in my professional circles with preparers at other firms, they tell me what's happening that even the public doesn't know. So never, for example, on a retail site, Amazon, Target, never save your credit card information. I know it's convenient, but never allow them to save it. Never save it in your browser. We do a lot of this kind of work for clients, in business especially, to protect them from cyber attacks. But individuals, talk to your tax preparer. There are tax preparers out there that are scanning your documents, that are sending them to India for 5 cents an hour to get things prepared in the cloud. And India and people there, so you got to be very careful. Get a signed affidavit from your preparer as to where your data is, your scan data, your images. These people are scanning your data and sending PDF files across the globe for other people cheaply in other countries who don't speak English to prepare your tax returns. So if they're evasive, fire them immediately and call me. I get these calls every day where other preparers will not admit what's happening, will not guarantee the data is not in the cloud. None of your data, none of your tax data with my firm, Chris Whalen CPA, is ever in the cloud or processed there for your taxes.
Chris, let's switch gears really quick. Tell me what's going on with the Foxhole Father. Great book. I know you're in the community. I know you're reaching out. Give us a quick 2-minute overview of what's happening with Foxhole Father.
Okay. A book I wrote is called Foxhole Father, The Field Guide for Fathers. And it is a guide for dads to become the masculine but non-judgmental sanctuary for their children. It's a book for all dads and dads-to-be, not just single fathers. And it gives a really good guide to situations and how I believe you should handle them to make happy, healthy, functioning adults. So you have things on play dates. You have things on alcohol. You have things on education. The most important point, if I can make about the book, is that it really forces you to self-observe and remove your feelings from your interaction with your children. Your feelings matter somewhat, but really we have to parent from the child. So every situation is different. We shouldn't interject our emotions into it. We should always be basing our parenting on what's best for that child objectively. So I've been, I'm talking to PTAs constantly. I've been doing a lot of outreach around the country in Canada and South America for psychologists and family counselors to keep my book, and they're buying the book and they're providing it to their fathers in their practice. And I'm getting, tremendous feedback. I'm sending books out every day to getting different orders. So that seems to be a really good way I'm interacting with the fathers in the communities, is actually through psychologists and family family counselors who are seeing dads who are at need or having a very hard time. And my book really gives them support. It makes them feel much less alone. Men are much less likely to reach out to talk about things. And this book, I'm totally honest with what my experience was and is, and they really relate to that. So it's been book's out for about 1.5 years now. It's sold again very well during Father's Day and Christmas. So that website is foxholefather.com. Please, dads, please go visit it. The book is available on Amazon, of course. And I'm always available to reach out through that website or my accounting website for any father at need, for any and all questions related to divorce, related to children, related to how to interact as a father in today's world, especially a masculine man. It's very hard for men to not feel that they have to feminize themselves. And my book shows you do not have to feminize yourself. You could have a masculine sensibility, and you can use that masculine sensibility to parent children to success.
Chris, I gotta thank you so much, as always, for coming through. And before I give you the applause, tell us, you told us about the Foxhole Father and how to get in contact with you. Tell us how to get in contact with Chris Whalen, the CPA.
Well, the best portal, the best place to go is chriswhalencpa.com. That's CHRISWHALEN CPA.com. That Chris Whalen CPA is my handle everywhere. That's my Twitter. That's my Gmail if you want to email me, chriswhalencpa@gmail.com. People can feel free to text me on my cell phone. My cell number is 732-673-0510. I urge everyone, a lot of accountants and lawyers make it very hard to reach out to them. They're separated. They make it feel like you're a nuisance. I want to hear from especially Late Night Parents listeners. I want to answer your questions. I want to take away your worry. That's what I'm here for as a professional. Taxes are really separate. Taxes are more anxiety-inducing than a health problem usually. And I tell my doctor clients that I'm more important than them, because if I could give you a 300 cholesterol or an IRS audit, you will take the cholesterol every day. So I urge everyone, please reach out to me. I'm here to answer questions. I'm here to, if you're getting advice you're not sure about from an investment perspective or tax perspective, please call me. Please email me the fact pattern. I will give you independent advice based on my almost 30 years experience.
Chris, I want to give you a round of applause.
Thank you.
As we get closer to April 15th, maybe we'll do a quick one-on-one podcast, because, there's a lot of late bloomers out there that are going to be nervous, not sure of what to do, watching this stuff on TV, going to these places, selecting these rapid refund options, and really doing all the wrong things, Chris.
I agree, and don't forget, as I always say, H&R blocks are for babies.
Chris, thanks so much. Thanks so much for joining us, and we will have you back just before tax season. The deadline hits. Thanks again.
Thank you, Ted, and a very happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Thank you.
And that was Chris Whalen. Happy to have Chris, because he's like a double threat. And know, we also have superheroes on here. So Chris is a friend to like my parents, as we are a friend to the Foxhole Father and Chris Whalen, CPA. Does great work all the time. We will be publishing his contact information. And I think we're getting ready to wrap up. I had a quick note on the best career advice for college students. Avoid easy internships. You know, although young job seekers with only a high school degree are even in worse shape, recent college graduates have entered a grim job market. The economy is still recovering, entry-level wages have plummeted, and recent college grads are competing for jobs in more than 2 million of their educated and jobless peers. So just wanted to tell you 2 quick things. You know what? I won't even tell you these 2 quick things. I'll put them up on the website. But the 2 questions will the internship provide you with leadership skills? And the second option is, if anyone can get an internship, is it worth your time? We're going to do a quick blog later tonight answering those 2 questions on the best college advice for, the best career advice for college students. So want to thank Joel Castix, from the Well-Armored, author of The Well-Armored Child, and her blog, The Worthy Adversary, for talking with us about her guide for preventing sexual abuse, and Chris Whalen, CPA. Want to thank you guys so much, and we will be back next week.
There are lots of things you can spend your tax refund on, but one thing you don't have to spend it on, a new smartphone. Switch to Metro PCS now and get not 1, but 2 free 4G LTE smartphones for brands like Samsung and LG. Plus, you're on T-Mobile's blazing fast nationwide 4G LTE network. Hurry! Switch to Metro PCS and get 2 free smartphones after instant rebate. One heck of a deal, only at Metro PCS. Limited time offer. Sales tax not included in phone price. Coverage and services not available everywhere. See store for details and terms and conditions.